Welcome to CADD37 Advanced CATIA V5 Functions. My name is Jorge Ulloa. You can call me Mr. U, George, Jorge, Hey You, or Hey Teacher. Either one is fine. My email address is julloa@elcamino.edu. We are not using a textbook for this class, but you can use your old textbook from CADD31 or from any other CATIA classes that you probably took online or at another college. You can use that as a reference, but we will not be using a textbook for this class other than using one as a reference. This class is 2 units, so this will be an 8-week course. It'll be 8 Saturdays. So starting February 13th, 2021, that'll be our first class date. If you like, you can show up in person to take the class, or you can just take it all online. I will be recording all the lectures and uploading them on YouTube. So in class, I will not be lecturing in class. So those of you that choose to come into class to use the computer lab, you're just going to log into the computer, use your my ECC user name and password to log in, and you can go into Canvas or check your email for the lectures. So everything will be on YouTube, so you can watch it at your own pace, at your own time. And I will not be lecturing in class because of the COVID restrictions, but I will be in the computer lab helping students one-on-one if they need help, or just make myself available. Okay, the class is designed for users with a basic knowledge of CATIA V5. This would include the core functionality of V5, Sketcher, part design, and assembly. Now, we are not going to be covering Sketcher, part design, and assembly. That's covered in CADD31, CADD32. If you have not taken CATIA before, you should be okay. We're just going to cover the surfacing workbench or surfacing module or surfacing app. So you do not need to know CATIA to take this class. If you've taken other classes such as SolidWorks, Pro-E, or Unigraphics, you should be okay. This class will serve as an introduction to CATIA V5 surface modeling. Many assignments will come from the CATIA online assignments, and there will be a significant student surface project at the end of the class. So we're going to have a few handouts, a student project, and also we're going to be doing some online tutorials. And I will record all of them so you can follow along step by step on YouTube, and you can follow along at your own time and at your own pace. Okay, so the topics we're going to be covering are wireframe. So when we talk about wireframe, we're talking about points, lines, splines, planes. Okay, so that's what we refer to as wireframe. And surface, so we're also going to be creating surfaces, lofting. We're going to be creating simple shapes like cylinders. Also some conic shapes, some of the advanced surfacing commands in CATIA. We're also going to be performing operations. Operations is blending one surface to another, such as using the blend command or even filleting from one surface to another. And we're also going to learn how to analyze our surfaces and our curves. Okay, so for the online tutorials for the wireframe, points, lines, curves, splines, for example, planes also, that'll be worth 100 points. For the online surfacing tutorials, so generating surfaces, whether it's a cylinder, a multi-section loft, for example, all those online tutorials will be worth 100 points. And operations. So once again, operations is blending surfaces, blending one surface to another using the blend command, using fillet command, for example. And all those tutorials will be worth 100 points. And we're going to go more into detail on the last page of the syllabus of what commands we're going to cover for wireframe, surface or surfacing, and operations. And I will show you how to do analysis, but we will not have an assignment on analysis, but we will go over it. It's very important that we understand how to analyze curves and surfaces. Okay, our first handout will be the impeller. Okay, that will be our first assignment. So typically I would want you to go over some of the tutorials first before jumping onto the handouts. But I've decided to make the impeller the first assignment, and I will give you step-by-step instruction on how to create the impeller. So let me show you the impeller handout. So this handout will show you step-by-step how to create an impeller. And we're not creating solids, we're creating wireframe and surfaces. No solids in this class. Okay, so this will walk you step by step on creating an axis, points, splines, generating a surface. And as you can see, it'll walk you step by step. And until the very end, you will have your complete impeller. Okay, so this is a step-by-step handout on how to create this impeller. I will create a separate YouTube video so you can follow along if you like. And even though the instructions here tells us to do it in inches, if you want to do it in millimeters, I'm okay with it. So. And by the way, I'm not picky when it comes to dimensions. If you were supposed to go, for example, length 1 inch and you accidentally typed in 1.5, I'm okay with it. I'm not going to check your numbers. I'm just going to check that you are using the commands correctly and generating an impeller. If the blades are on the impeller, some of you are going to come up with blades that are not the same as what you see on this view here on the upper right corner, and that's okay. If your blades are longer, shorter, I'm okay with it. You'll still get the full credit. Okay, so when we create our impeller, we're going to go into generative shape design. Okay, so in CATIA V5, you're going to go to Start, go down to Shape. So this is where you find your surfacing workbenches. There's actually quite a few. But we're limited to the surfacing workbenches, either on your student license or on campus. Okay, so we're going to cover the generative shape design module or workbench or app. And we are going to do a little bit of freestyling, and that'll be to the very end. We're not going to have a freestyle assignment unless you want to do it on your final project. You can do a combination of generative shape design where you mathematically define your surface, your wireframe. Freestyle, you're just sculpting. You're just freehanding when it comes to the freestyle workbench. Okay, so that'll be, once again, you go to Start, Shape, and Generative Shape Design. Now, if most likely when you show up to class or you log into your own personal computer and use CATIA, your student license, go to the top and go to Tools, Options, and you can change your units to inches, and I'll show you in a minute how to do that. So let's go ahead and go to CATIA V5. And let's go over to the impeller. Okay, so this is what your final impeller should look like once you're done going through the entire handout. If you want to add color, go for it. It's optional. I prefer to add color just so things stand out. If you want to keep it, I think it's like a vanilla color, the default color, you may. And just to show you what did it take to create this impeller, if you go to the no-show layer down here, you can see all the wireframe in the background. You can see all this wireframe here that it took to create the blades, to define your profile of the blades. And you can also use a surface as a cutting element, as we use this one. Okay, so this is the no-show layer. Anytime you see green in the background, it's telling you you're in the no-show. Anytime you cut a surface or alter a line by cutting it or extending it, it hides the original in the background in this no-show layer. And let's go back to the visible layer. Okay, and this is your final results when it comes to the impeller. Okay, so, and I'll remind you in the later videos how to change your units. To change unit, you go to Tools, Options. Okay, go to Parameters and Measure. Go to Units. By the way, you may have to click the plus. So you can go to General, hit plus, go to Parameters and Measure. Click on the Units tab. And to change length, here it is, length. So it's already highlighted. If not, click on it, it'll turn blue. And you can drop down and you can see the options you have. You have feet, inches, millimeters, yards, miles, etc. Okay, more than what you need. And you also have millimeters. So our assignments will be in millimeters and in inches. Those are the two most common units used out in the industry. Okay, so I'm already set to inches and you hit OK. All right, one thing that I did want to bring up is, I'll bring it up later on the impeller YouTube video. For this class, we're not going to create solids. So solids go in part bodies. Okay, so if you're doing a sketch, whether it's SolidWorks, CATIA, Unit Graphics, Pro E, you typically use Sketch or Sketcher to create your profile, and then you do a pad or extrude, right? And you create a solid. We're not going to create solids in this class. We're going to do things the hard way. We're going to use wireframe and surfaces. So some of you are going to ask, hey, it's easier if we do it in Sketch. And yes, but the goal of this class is to show you how to create wireframe and surfaces. Do things the old school way. And also those of you that want to go and work for a studio department for a major automotive company, whether it's, Honda, Ford, or Tesla, you do everything using wireframe and surfaces to generate the Class A surface, the exterior surface of a vehicle, or the interior of a vehicle. Okay, so now we'll talk more about how this is used out in the real world, whether it's automotive or aerospace. Okay, so let's go back to the syllabus. Okay, so once again, our first assignment will be the impeller. And then afterwards, we're going to go back to the tutorials and create points, lines, etc. So let me show you what that looks like. So the first wireframe assignment, I will be emailing you this file. So a lot of this I just downloaded from the tutorials online. You may have access on your own personal student license. You can go to Help, and you can go to Context Index and Search, and you'll have access to the tutorials. Some of you may have an issue accessing the tutorials. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and just email you the tutorials with step-by-step instructions. Okay, so for the first tutorial is to learn how to use the point command. Okay, so you will open up this file, and one of the things you'll learn is how to put a point at the center of a circle, how to put a point at the center of a sphere or a partial sphere, how to put points along a curve, how to project points, etc., how to put a point on a surface. Okay, and once you're done, you'll save your work, and you can either email me your work, or you can take a screenshot. Take a screenshot and email me your first tutorial assignment. Okay, so once you're done with this, then we'll go on to how to create a line, and then you'll open up the file on how to create a line, and there will be existing geometry just like on this one for the points tutorial. Okay, so let's go back to the syllabus. Okay, so once again, for wireframe, the first thing we're going to learn is how to create points. There's so many different ways you can create points. Okay, and eventually how to create a line and so on, and we'll cover that on the last page of this syllabus. Okay, the next assignment the next handout will be the box. Okay, so the box. Here's the handout. And again, we're not going to be using Sketcher. We're not using Sketch. We're not creating solids. Some of you can probably do this in 15 minutes using a Sketch, Pad, Extrude, Hole command, or Cut, or Pocket command, etc. But we're going to do it the hard way. We're going to use wireframe and surfaces. Okay, so just to give you a preview, and I'll probably send you a YouTube video on this one in about a week, on the second Saturday or third Saturday. Most likely the second Saturday, I'll send you a YouTube video on how to create the box. And again, if you want to use millimeters, I'm okay with it. So even though this handout says inches, if you want to use millimeters, I'm fine with that. All right, so let me give you a preview of the box. Okay, so the box, we're going to start by creating wireframes. So we're not going to do it the easy way by using Sketcher. We're going to use wireframe. We're going to be creating lines. We're going to be using planes, points in space. Okay, so we're using wireframe. And we're going to be generating surfaces. So we're going to be pretty much making patches. We're going to be making patches until we complete the box. We're not going to do it the easy way using Sketch and Pad, or Sketch and Hole command, or Pocket command, or Cut command. Okay, we're going to do it the hard way. And this was the old school way of doing it. So if you ever work with an old school engineer that's been in the business for 30 plus years, this is the way they first learned it before we had the Sketch command. Okay, one thing I do want you to note is, for those of you that have already taken a CATIA class, you have pretty much worked with the part body. So anything that's solid would be created in the part body. So if you were using Sketch, Pad, Sketch, Pocket command, etc., it would all fall into the part body. But we're not going to be using part body, and by the way, I cannot delete it. Okay, so the default part body cannot be deleted. Okay. Now, when we create our geometry, our points, lines, surfaces, we're going to be using geometric sets. And a simple way of inserting a geometric set, you go to Insert, Geometric Set. Okay, and think of it as a folder to store your geometry. So all the non-solids, so for example, in wireframe, we want to have our points, lines. Whoop, I should not have this cylinder there. I have to move this one to the surface geo set. Okay, so in wireframe, I should only have lines, points, curves, circles, etc. And for surfaces, so for surfaces, all these patches should be in this folder. These are in the wrong place. I can always drag and drop them in the right place. And just to organize things, you can also have a planes geometric set. So again, think of it as a folder. Think of this as your binder. Okay, so school binder, and you're going to break it up into sections. Okay, so once you're done, it'll look something like this. So once you complete it, again, by creating little patches one at a time. And then at the end, you're going to join it all together to complete this project. Okay. And it's going to take a while. It's something that may take an hour or 2 hours for you to complete. Okay. So, and again, I will provide you a YouTube video by most likely the second Saturday on how to complete this assignment. All right, let's go back to the syllabus. Okay, and for your final assignment, so hopefully by the 7th week, you're done with all this, the tutorials, the impeller, the box, and I'm hoping that the last 2 Saturdays, or at least the last Saturday, you can dedicate time to your final project. Okay, that'll be worth 300 points. I forgot to mention impeller's 200, box is 200. and the final project will be worth 300 points, and that's a total of 1,000. Okay, so final project. Let's take a look at ideas for final project. Okay, so I'm going to let you pick whatever you like for your final project. And I know we're 6 or 7 weeks away from starting your final project, but I want you to at least start thinking of some ideas. So think of something futuristic, something ergonomic, organic, and think of it as a concept, as an idea. Okay, so just to give you a few ideas, I'm going to show you some very simple ideas to very complex. Okay, so let's start with the first one. Something as simple as a chair. Okay, so this is a futuristic ergonomic chair. Now, it looks simple, but to generate all these surfaces, it takes a lot of time. Okay, it takes a lot of hours. It's not rectangular. It's not cylindrical. Okay, so that's what makes it tough, creating these shaped surfaces. And compound surface, where it's going in one direction and then it dips in and then it comes back up and dips back down. Okay, so we're looking for a project where the surfaces change direction. And a good example, again, is coming up this surface here. It's going up and then it changes direction and goes inward. Then it goes up again and inward. So we're looking for projects that are challenging, where the surface changes direction. Okay, so for example, here the surface is going in, and it goes out, changes direction. Okay, so that's just one simple example. Another example of a futuristic or ergonomic chair, right? This is not simple to create. Looks simple, but takes a lot of time to create it. If you're into cars, you want to model something futuristic. Okay, obviously we don't have time to detail everything, but just so you can get the basic shell of the vehicle. And again, I'll be showing you some examples later on, and I'll be also linking, I'll send you links to YouTube videos of projects from other students, or even things that you see online on YouTube on how to create the shell of a vehicle. And I will also show you some student projects that have been turned in the past 5 years from other students. A mouse. Not simple, right? Mouse looks simple, but to generate all these surfaces takes a lot of wireframe, a lot of surfacing, a lot of patience. Okay, it's not easy. If you're into gaming, you want to create your own controller. Okay, so I'm hoping you guys can find something that you're passionate, something that you like, whether it's cars or gaming, for example. Now, the reason I'm showing you this one is because when I first took the class back in 2005, 2006, this was my student project when I first took the class. So when I took the class, the instructor gave us the same instructions. Find something where the surface changes direction. So it's going in, then it goes out, changes direction. Think of a cowboy hat, for example. Okay, so this is an outdoor radio. I think this is a radio that you use for on a boat. Actually, I do have this radio, and it's an outdoor radio. And you can also use it, take it to the beach. If it gets a little bit of water, should be okay. Old radio I have. So let me show you my project when I first took this class many years ago. Okay, so here's the radio. Okay, so you can see you have your speakers, the display, buttons, and the antenna, right? And it's not 100% complete, but you got the basic shell. So this is also a CD player, an MP3 player. So this is a very old radio. So this is the lid. You just push on it and it'll open, and you can load a CD. So yes, this is an old radio. And I actually have it in the office to show as an example. Okay, so try and think of something again that's not squared, not cylindrical, Something that has a lot of curvature to it. Okay. And just to show you what did it take to create this, I'm going to go into the background. So this is all the geometry in wireframe. You can see all the lines. This is what it took for me to come out with the final result. You can see a lot of points and lines and curves, etc. And that's what it took for me to create this. Okay. Now you don't have to do something as complex as this. Okay, so I don't want you to feel overwhelmed that you have to pick something very complex. I can tell you that most of the students, even if your project is incomplete, even if you don't finish it, I can tell you that most of the students will get full credit. Maybe 1 or 2 students may not get the full credit, but about 90% of the class will get the full 300 out of 300 points. Even if your project is incomplete, if you can show me that you spend a lot of time, you know, at least 2 full Saturdays, or at least 1, or at least 10 hours creating your surfaces and your wireframe, you will get the full credit. So don't feel that you have to complete the project. And again, later on, I'll show you examples of some student work, some very simple stuff, and also some very complex projects that students turned in, and they all got full credit. Okay, so that's the final project. 1,000 points. So if you want an A, you gotta get at least 900 points. For a B, 800 points. A C, 700 points. A D, at least 600 points. Anything below 600 points is an F. Okay, so what are our goals? Okay, so these are the SLOs, the student learning outcomes for CADD37. So advanced CATIA V5 functions, student learning outcome, number 1 or SLO number 1, 3D wireframe modeling, given a fully dimensioned multi-view engineering drawing of a machine part, the student will be able to utilize the appropriate functions within the CATIA V5 software to construct a 3D wireframe model of the part. Okay, so we're using wireframe and surfaces. We're not creating solids. Okay, so SLO number 2, utilizing surfacing functions. Given a fully dimensioned multi-view engineering drawing of a complex molded part, the student will be able to utilize the appropriate functions within the CATIA V5 software to construct a 3D surface model of the part. Okay, so this would be the impeller project and the box. Okay, that'll cover the first 2 SLOs. And in the tutorials and hopefully your student project, you'll be able to also join surfaces. So joining surfaces by using fillets or using a blend to join 2 separate surfaces. Okay, given a 3D surface model of 2 separate surfaces of a complex molded part, the student will be able to utilize the appropriate functions within the CATIA V5 software to construct a 3rd surface blending of the original 2. So once again, you have 2 surfaces that are separate. There's space between them, and you want to join them by either using the blend command to generate a 3rd surface or create a fillet between the 2 separate surfaces. The new surface will be tangent, continuous with both the original surfaces. And again, I will show you how to do that in one of the tutorials. Okay, disability statement. Students with disabilities who believe they need accommodations in this class are encouraged to contact the Special Resources Center on campus as soon as possible to ensure such accommodations are implemented in a timely fashion. Please contact me privately to discuss your specific needs. And one thing I did forget to mention is there are no due dates on the assignments. Okay, so you go at your own pace. So some students will complete the impeller and submit it right away. And the sooner you turn it in, the faster I can grade it. And one thing that I will do is, so let's say you finish the impeller. You can send me a screenshot of your work, or you can actually send me your actual CATIA file. So if I see that it's complete, I'll just look at it for 5 seconds and see, yep, everything's there, nothing's missing. 100%, so 200 out of 200. Now, let's say you missed some of the blades. I don't know, maybe the yellow blades were missing. Okay, I'll give you, let's say, 170 points out of 200. And you have the chance to resubmit. So if you don't get the full 200 points, I'll grade it. Send you a screenshot of your grade, your points, and you can resubmit one more time to attempt to get the full credit. Okay, so I will give you a chance to fix it once if you did not get the full credit. Okay, so once again, you can submit your assignments as you go, or some of you will choose to submit everything at the very end on the last Saturday class. Okay, so I'll give you the option. Again, there are no due dates. You can turn it in as you go, or wait till the end of the 8-week course to submit your assignments. All right, so the final page shows the tutorials. Okay, so I will make a separate video. So these will be short videos, it can be 5 minutes. Okay, so yes, there are a lot of tutorials. So you're going to look at this and say, whoa, those are a lot of tutorials, right? But these will be 5-minute tutorials and maybe less. And I'll make a YouTube video for each one. Okay, so starting next week, the second Saturday, I'll start providing you YouTube videos, at least of the wireframe. And the third week, I'll get to the surfaces. And the fourth week, I'll provide you with the operations tutorials, maybe even sooner. So I'll be working on these during the week and creating one YouTube video for each tutorial. So once again, creating points. So I will send you a file, creating points. And once again, this is the file I showed earlier. So I will send you the points file. So as you can see up here in the upper left corner, this is the points file. I will email you this file and you just follow along on the YouTube video, and there will be a PDF with instructions if you choose to do it on your own without the YouTube video. And I'll walk you on how to create points on a surface, locate the point on a sphere, center point of a circle, how to add multiple points on a curve, and so on, how to put a point on a line. And it'll take about 5 minutes, and then you save it, and you can either email it to me or send me a screenshot. And again, you can turn it in as you go or wait till the end of the semester, or I should say the 8-week course. Okay, so these will be all the tutorials. Again, these should be 5-minute tutorials, so don't feel this is going to be overwhelming. All right, so one thing I do have to bring up, let's go to Canvas. Okay, if we go to Canvas, I emailed you a link for those of you that want to download a student CATIA license. Okay, so we're using CATIA V5 on campus. I think we're using 2017. So let's go ahead and go to Canvas. So here we are at the CADD37 course. So here's the announcement on the format of the class, the dates. So I'm going to go ahead and click on this announcement that I sent you, that I already posted a few weeks ago or a week ago. Okay, so once again, our first Saturday class will be February 13th. So I will open up the computer labs at 8 in the morning. You don't have to show up at 8 if you don't want to. If you want to show up at 9 or 10, I'm okay with it. Now, if nobody shows up or students leave early, let's say that by noon, nobody's in the computer lab, either students left early or nobody showed up, then I will leave early. But while I'm there, I'll be recording YouTube videos on the tutorials and also on the lectures. Okay, so I did email you a link, so here it is. I should say I did post a link on this announcement. So here's the link for the free student. I shouldn't say free. Sometimes it is free, usually during the summers or sometimes during the holidays. It's been a while since I've seen them give it away for free. I think it's been like 2 years. So for a student license, it's $110 and you get it for a whole year. Okay, and you get quite a few of the workbenches in CATIA. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and click on this link. And some of you have already sent me an email saying, hey, there's a problem with the CATIA student license. And yes, there is. So I just found out during the week. I contacted one of the other instructors, and he was having the same issue. So he contacted Dassault Systems. So Dassault Systems owns SolidWorks, CATIA, ISIM, and other softwares. Okay, so we're trying to get a license, student license for you guys. So our current instructor is working on it, and he's talking to our IT guy and also the salesman that provided the student license on campus. So we're going to try and fix that. Now, one option that we do have, if we cannot download a student CATIA license, is to use the new CATIA. That one is working. Okay, so they did tell us that it may take a few weeks before they can even fix this problem. So if that's an issue, you can download the new CATIA, CATIA 3DX. Okay, so let me show you CATIA 3DX. Okay, so what you're going to do when you click on this link and it says, hey, CATIA V5 is not available, go to Learn Online. Click on Learn Online. And let me go ahead and turn off this YouTube video that was going to play. Okay, so you can register on this website, Dassault Systems. So this is edu.3ds.com-en-learn-online. Okay, so I'm already logged in, but if you're a new user to this website, there's going to be a blue button here on the upper right corner, and it's going to say Connect. So when you click on it, you can set up your own account. So it'll ask you for your email, your name, what username you want to use, and password. So once again, you'll see this blue button up here on the upper right corner. I'm already logged in, so you don't see it now. So once you click on it, it'll ask you for information so you can register online. Once you're registered, you can follow along in these videos. Okay, so how to register, how to install the CATIA 3DX or 3D experience. Okay, and how to access it. Okay, so let me show you what CATIA 3DX looks like. It's just like CATIA V5, the same commands, it just looks a lot nicer, a lot more modern. Okay, so let me go ahead and okay, so once you're registered, and once you're ready, once you have installed CATIA 3DX, and I believe this is free, by the way. I believe the new CATIA 3D experience is free. Okay, so go through all these YouTube videos, and I will also send you a link to their YouTube site, or I should say their YouTube channel. Okay, so it'll walk you through how to download part design, drafting, for example. So you have to tell it which one you want to download, and it'll walk you through it on the videos. So the one we're going to use for CATIA 3D experience is generative, wireframe, and surface. Okay, so that's the one we're going to be using if you're using the CATIA 3D experience. So generative, wireframe, and surface. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and click on that and give it a second to load. And just to compare, let me go over to CATIA V5. Okay, so you will be able to open this file. You will be able to open this file in CATIA 3D Experience for the tutorials. Now you do need to change your permissions to be able to open it, or else it'll say permission denied. You do have to change your status or role. Okay, so I'll walk you through that. And I'm going to compare both softwares. I'm going to show you the difference between CATIA V5 and CATIA 3D Experience. They have the same commands, but just think of CATIA V5 merging with SolidWorks and AutoCAD. Imagine it takes the best of all softwares, whether it's AutoCAD, SolidWorks, and the power of CATIA, and it pretty much makes a very powerful, user-friendly software. Let me see what happened. Having issues uploading 3D Experience. I'm wondering if I cannot download or open both of them at the same time. I may need to turn off, oh, there it is, it's loading. I have too many softwares on my computer, so my computer is a little slow from all the different softwares, and I need to buy a new laptop. Okay, so once again, while that's loading, so CATIA V5 has all these toolbars running along the bottom, along the top. You can also move the toolbars if you like. You can always dock them. You can drag them. So I'm going to left mouse click and hold, grab it by the handle. You can even create a new row, or I should say column here on the left if you like. So right now, because I have both softwares running, it's running a little slow. Okay, so there it is. So you can set up a column of commands. Okay, so these are the toolbars. Okay, so the difference between the two is, while CATIA has all the commands along the perimeter, the new CATIA has it all at the bottom. Okay, so let's go back to CATIA 3D Experience. So it's the exact same commands, except everything is down here at the bottom. Okay, so all the toolbars are down here, and you have the tabs. So you have the wireframe tab, for example. Okay, so wireframe has points, lines, planes, axes, circles, curves, etc. Let's go back to the beginning. Standard, essentials. So these are the most common commands that you'll be using in generative, wireframe, and surface. For CATIA V5 is generative shape design. Okay, so again, we have wireframe, surfaces, so creating surfaces. Volume, we're not going to cover the volume commands. In this case, you would be creating surfaces and solids all in one shot. We're not going to cover this area. Transform, we're going to be using join quite a bit to join surfaces or to join curves and join them into one. Okay, so I just wanted to show you the difference between the two softwares in case you choose to go with 3D Experience. So I will be making separate videos. So I'll make videos for CATIA V5 for those of you that want to use the CATIA V5 software because either you already have it on your personal computer or maybe you have access to it at your job, or maybe you're going to show up to class. So in class, we only have the old CATIA V5, right? So this is what we have on campus. We do not have the 3D Experience yet. Actually, that's one of the softwares I've been fighting for the last 2-3 years that we need to bring in, the CATIA 3D Experience. Okay, so again, we're not going to use part body. Part body, we typically want to put solids there, sketch, solids, pad, for example. Okay, so to insert a geometric set, we're going to right click. We're going to go all the way down. So right click on this part here, on this part there, and go to geometric set. So we're going to insert a geometric set and you'll see it populate on the tree. Okay, it's asking for a name. If I don't give it a name, it'll just default, but I'm going to call this one wireframe. Or you can just hit OK and it'll just call it a geoset. No, I'll just hit OK. Computer's slow, so I don't want to slow this down anymore. Okay, so there it is, geoset. You can always right-click Properties and call it wireframe. And I'll walk you through that later on the YouTube videos for the impeller and for the box on how to name your geosets. So it looks a little different. If we go back to CATIA V5, the geosets are in yellow. Okay, so this is showing us surface and wires. Almost looks like a fancy hat. Okay, so that's the difference between CATIA V5 and the 3D experience. So once again, if you choose to download the 3D experience, I'm pretty sure it's free. And I think it takes a day or two for Dassault Systems to give you access to it. They'll send you an email so you can register and download the software. Okay, and just a warning, it does eat up a lot of memory. So hopefully you have a good computer or laptop that can handle the size of this software. Okay, so now one thing I did want to mention is one of the reasons I've been pushing to get 3D experience into a campus, into our computer lab, is because a lot of companies are already transitioning from V5, CATIA V5, to 3D experience. 3D experience has been around for years. But no company, especially a big company, nobody wants to be the first one to try out a new software until all the kinks are ironed out, right? So when a new software comes out, or even like a new car, right? Like when the first Tesla came out, I don't know about the Teslas, but now Teslas are very popular. So anytime a new car comes out, new company, you should be a little, worry about it. Do they have good quality control, etc. versus a company that's been around for decades. So most aerospace companies, especially the old aerospace companies, like Boeing, for example, Lockheed Martin, Northrop used to use a CATIA V5, but now they're moving over to Unigraphics. So a lot of the old school aerospace companies are still using CATIA V5, but the newer companies like the competitors to Tesla. So we have like Faraday Future, for example. We have Rivian, R-I-V-I-A-N. So we have these new car companies that want to compete with Tesla, creating their own EVs, their own electric vehicles. They are using the new CATIA 3D experience. Some of the other automotive companies are also transitioning. So you'll have companies that are here locally, like Honda, for example. I worked there at Honda. They were still using CATIA V5 2 years ago, but they were going to transition over to a 3D experience. I also worked at Faraday Future, and they were already using the CATIA 3D experience. Okay, so I'll leave it up to you which software you want to use. Or maybe you want to learn both. Okay, so if you want to go and learn both, either way, they both function the same way, just the icons or the commands are set up differently. All right, so once again, I'll open up the computer lab at 8. I will not take roll as far as Zoom. When I'm not going to be doing Zoom videos, everything will be on YouTube. I will send you links and post them on Canvas, and maybe even also send an email. Pretty sure once I post everything on Canvas, you'll get an email with links to the YouTube videos or the lectures and the handouts. If you have any questions, send me an email, or you can just send me a note through Canvas, and I'll try and respond as quick as possible. And once again, after this video, I'm going to be making the impeller video for those that want to follow along in class or on your own personal computer. Okay, end of lecture.